I was not expecting that at all.
Life happens.
Right.
And we're not in control. It's never about the addiction. It's about we have lost connection.
If I just have these great jobs, if I have all this money, then I'll be happy.
They're not living their lives how I think they should.
How may I serve? Or another way to say that is, what's up? Hello and welcome to today's Conscious Conversation. I'm really excited today because we are in for quite a treat in receiving beautiful Miss Kim Garin. So what would you say is the difference between acceptance and resignation, sweetheart?
Acceptance is the awareness, the mentality that we can't change what is. What's happened, what is. That's out of our control. The only choice we have is how we step forward. So resignation would be just allowing things to keep happening, right? Just following the trajectory, kind of just being a victim of the circumstances versus saying, okay, well, this happened. It is what it is. I get to choose my perspective and how I look at it, and I get to craft the way I'm going to shift myself in order for this either not to happen again, to transform into something else, or potentially end altogether.
So if we're resigned, like this is it, it's not the same as acceptance at all. So the resignation piece of it is I'm resigned that I'm a victim of whatever just happened in my life. I'm resigned and I have no empowerment to change the way anything of it is going down. And so the resignation piece is I'm resigned that I will suffer. I'm resigned that there's nothing I can do to change anything, including not even being aware that we aren't seeing things in truth. Like the surrender piece isn't there because we're resigned to pain as the only answer. We have our answer, we have our conclusion, and it's that life is awful and that this is horrible and we're victims of that.
Yeah, and you speaking just brought up the idea of Gandhi. Some of these very connected people who were in situations, imprisoned for years, who rather than resigning, they accepted that that was their reality, but they chose to think about it in the way that they wanted to and use their mind productively and their will and their to be in a way that was expansive or nourishing.
You know what that brings to mind for me is the whole, someone asked me at one point, who are you? And immediately what I heard was, I am love. And I love that that is my definition of myself. I am love. And so how I treat you, it isn't about you. It's how I want to experience the world. So even when the world is falling apart and crumbling and there's war and destruction and a whole lot of fear, separation, and illusion, I get to see and know that behind all the pain and struggle, that in truth, letting the illusion fall away, that it's love. Like even in the deepest, darkest moments, that there is this potential to experience love in truth. An example of that is a friend of mine was a firefighter in New York when September 11th happened. And his brother was also a firefighter. His brother, his last communication with his brother was in the stairwell. His brother called him, let him know what was going on. His brother was going to be getting off shift. He was going to be coming on. They worked at the same station. And that's the last time his brother died in 9/11. And I spoke with him, it happened September 11th, and I spoke with him when we were doing a fundraiser in January, and he flew back to Iowa for the fundraiser. And it was so fascinating. He shared with me, Rita, I have experienced the deepest, darkest moments I ever experienced in my entire life. And I've experienced the most beautiful and loving experiences I have ever had in my entire life through this experience of 9/11. So the ultimate offering of surrendering and seeing the truth of any situation and seeing, yes, there's pain, yes, there's destruction, Mother Nature, tsunamis, tornadoes, all of it. But can we see the offering of life and the potential for connecting with it in truth through a really surrendered process? I've done research. 10 out of 10 of us are going to die.
It's a guarantee.
And what are we going to do when we're living? Like, it's such a surrendered component to all of that. So thank you. I appreciate that exploration.
Thank you.
Kim, what does self-care mean to you?
Self-care to me means listening to my needs.
What? You have needs?
We all do.
What?
And so often they go unrecognized.
I spent so much of my life avoiding, pretending, and denying that I needed anything. No, I'm good here.
Yeah.
You know? Self-care, give until it hurts, give some more. Oh, here, you take what you need? No, I'm good. And then I'd crash and burn. Ultimately, every single time.
Yeah.
So self-care, what do you mean?
Well, for me, like there's this thought of Abraham Maslow actually has this pyramid of human needs, and the bottom is physical. So we need food, shelter. Next is safety, security, love, and belonging. And then we have the self-esteem level, which that's where it gets real tricky. And then there's the self-actualization, self-realization. So for me, we in this country, most of us spend very little of our time on the lower levels. And so a lot of it kind of evolves between the love and self-esteem and then into self-realization. So for me, it starts with loving myself, right? Because if we don't have love, we have no love to give, like you always say. And there's a piece of it where for me, it's perhaps, it's taking care of my physical body for sure. So for me, it's a morning ritual and sticking to that, giving myself some accountability of having, my meditation in the morning, a good breakfast, moving my body, and then also allowing myself to follow things that light me up. So maybe one week it might be a massage, maybe another week it might be, a meetup that sounds intriguing and connection. But for me, for my self-care, a lot of it is, I'm a little bit of an introvert, so a lot of it is time to myself and however I feel pulled to spend that in the moment.
Good point. Right. Self-care is really the only way we can take care of ourselves is if we have a relationship with ourselves that we are aware of what we need. And that's intimacy. And a lot of times we talk about, I want to find that special someone. And we don't realize that when we're looking in the mirror, we're looking at our very best friend. And that special someone is you, is the person who's in the mirror. And we think of that as so egotistical, but really, for all of us, it's the universe of Kim. It's the universe of Rita. Not from a place of holier than thou, but recognizing this is the foundation of how I walk through, live, and experience life. And if I'm not foundationally loving myself, then I can't offer that to you who's on my path. I'm going to fall short of that intimate connection. And if I'm not intimate and aware of my own needs, who I am in relationship to life, then I can't even begin to be authentic and intimate with you. It's such a slippery slope. So I love that you took the offering and the introspection of what is self-care to a place of exploring self-love and what that means to us in any given moment. That's really possible. That's really powerful. And I also want to acknowledge the summary of it is love yourself.
Yes.
Love myself.
You triggered in me. Sometimes that means saying no.
Oh my goodness. Often
Big,
that
scary
means...
2-letter word. Saying no to others to say yes to yourself.
Yes, very powerful. Thank you.